Manchester United are living through an almost unthinkable reality. Once the pride of English football, the club now finds itself drowning in 15th place on the league table, performing like a second-tier side. They are out of the FA Cup, and the only thing they still hold on to is their media spotlight. 12 years after the golden era, no one could have imagined such a scenario. Yet this is the very truth Red Devils supporters are now forced to confront. At the G-Tech Stadium, Manchester United fell to Brentford in a chaotic match where they had initially taken the lead, but then came the unraveling. A disjointed style of play, a shaky defense, and a spiritless performance that dragged them down. Their defending was sleepwalking, their own goal was a disaster, and their attack lacked any bite. A bleak picture looms over a club that once ruled the Premier League. 16 defeats in 35 matches, a negative goal difference, only 42 goals scored and 51 conceded. The numbers speak for themselves. More painful than the statistics is the fact that defeat no longer surprises their fans, it has become routine. Supporters have come to accept the grim truth that today's Manchester United is merely a shadow of its past. On the 4th of May, the Red Devils traveled to Brentford with a patched-up squad and a faint hope of salvaging some dignity from a wrecked season. But what followed was a 3-4 loss, even after taking the lead. This is not the Manchester United of the post-Ferguson years, floating between 5th and 6th. This is a United out of every race, skimming the edges of relegation, with nothing left to hold on to. The starting lineup revealed a clear lack of depth and quality, even when manager Ruben Amorim brought on Amad Diallo and Alejandro Garnacho in an attempt to salvage something. It was merely damage control. Amad's goal did little to mask the defeat. After the match, Amorim admitted bluntly that their new target is a Europa League spot. As for the Premier League, survival is the best they can hope for. It was a cold, brutal statement that underscored just how far they have fallen. Not since 2013 have United sunk this low, not under David Moyes, not under Louis van Gaal, and not under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer had things been this bleak. The problem does not lie solely with Ruben Amorim. This is the consequence of a series of missteps that span many years. More than £600 million have been spent since 2022, only to assemble a squad that is brittle, lacking identity, and entirely lost. On social media, Manchester United fans no longer rage, they simply ache with bitter resignation. One prominent fan account wrote that being in 15th place after 35 games is the darkest stain in the club's history. Once the kings of English football, the Red Devils have become the punchline of world football. And then comes the question, how does a struggling, uninspired team losing week after week still manage to be the most talked about name in the world? The answer can be summed up in 2 words: legacy and drama. Manchester United are not just a football club, they are a global icon. Under Sir Alex Ferguson, they etched themselves into the memory of a generation. Names like Cristiano Ronaldo, Wayne Rooney, Paul Scholes, and David Beckham were more than players, they were living legends. And when a legend begins to crumble, the world cannot look away, because no one wants to miss the moment a monument falls. Google Trends, Sky Sports, YouTube, every platform shows the same thing. Manchester United still attract the most attention, no matter how poor their form, not just out of love, but also hatred. Their anti-fans rival their loyal supporters in number. Ironically, the more they are hated, the more they shine. They live in both extremes in a way no other club can. Just look at what happens after every defeat. Gary Neville yells on television, Jamie Carragher pounds the desk in heated debates. The entire country is split over a team on the verge of relegation. Meanwhile, Liverpool sit at the top of the table with barely a ripple. The media, after all, does not crave perfection, it thrives on collapse, on conflict, on chaos. And no one delivers that quite like Manchester United. Once, it was United who ended Liverpool's reign and rose to 20 domestic titles. Now, as Liverpool continue to write new chapters in their history, Manchester United no longer know what direction they are heading. So why does a team in 15th place still command the largest viewership on the planet? The answer lies in a unique blend. A legendary legacy, global influence, fierce love, passionate hate, and relentless curiosity. The downfall of a giant always captures attention. Because deep down, everyone wants to witness what happens when a legend falls. Despite their disastrous form, Manchester United remain one of the most storied clubs in English football. Their fan base stretches across every continent. From the 1990s to the early 2000s, they were a dominant force and a global symbol of the game. And now, as the club plummets into freefall, they provide the perfect fuel for the media. Every one of their matches is still given prime-time slots whether they win or lose, because the audience remains curious. On Google searches, YouTube views, and Sky Sports features, Manchester United are still the most talked about name, even when they perform like a mid-travel side. As journalist Simon Jordan once said, the media love blood more than medals. Liverpool beating Arsenal might barely make headlines, but Manchester United losing to Brentford sends shockwaves through the entire country. And that holds true not just in the press, but across social media. One misplaced pass by Bruno Fernandes, one clumsy touch from Harry Maguire, these moments can go more viral than any piece of brilliance from Kevin De Bruyne. Manchester United are the most hated club on the planet, and strangely, that only makes them more famous. Their matches draw not only fans hoping for a win, but also a crowd of haters eagerly waiting for them to fall. They are a living emblem of a very real phenomenon, fame through hatred, and in that regard, no club does it quite like Manchester United. Every time they appear, the pundits cannot stay silent. Gary Neville, Jamie Carragher, Danny Murphy, Simon Jordan, they all take to the screen to argue, to dissect, to try and answer one burning question. How did the most iconic club in English football reach this point of crisis? Who has the courage to pull them out of the abyss? Liverpool are top of the Premier League, playing with style, balance, and ruthless efficiency under Arne Slot. But the name dominating social media, trending in searches, and commanding airtime on every talk show is still Manchester United. Simply put, Liverpool are too flawless to dissect. United, meanwhile, offer a weekly drama show. Modern football does not thrive on fairy tales. The media feed on scandal. And no one serves up chaos better than Manchester United. They are the spark behind every emotional broadcast, the center of every post-match argument. Just look back at the 1973-74 season, the year the Red Devils were relegated, in what was once thought to be an unthinkable shock. Now sitting in 15th defending like a team that has forgotten how to organize, that scenario feels frighteningly possible once again. The greatest tragedy is not their place in the standings, it is the sheer sense of despair. No one understands what their long-term strategy is. No one knows who holds the power behind the scenes. There is no plan, no structure, no clear vision. £100 million signings. Managers shuffled like playing cards. Young talents thrown into the fire before they are ready. All of it tossed into the broken machine that is Old Trafford, with hope, and only hope, that some miracle might emerge. But there can be no miracle unless you first dare to tear it all down and start again. Under Sir Alex Ferguson, Manchester United were Liverpool's greatest rival. He vowed to knock them off their perch, and he did. By the time Ferguson retired in 2013, United had won 20 league titles. Now, Liverpool have caught up. And worse still, that number 20 cannot save them from sitting 15th in the table. In theory, Manchester United are not yet in the relegation battle. But if you look at how they play, how they are run, the energy in the dressing room, the ghost of seasons past is very much alive. Because the biggest issue is not form, it is the absence of vision. There is no clear project, no operational structure, no figure with the authority to lead a rebuild. From Erik ten Hag to Ruben Amorim, from Jadon Sancho to Antony, from blockbuster signings to academy kids being forced to carry the weight. Everything has been thrown into a failing system, with fingers crossed for a miracle. A football club is only truly great when it protects its standards across generations. You cannot live forever in a museum. You cannot keep admiring the iconic red shirt while forgetting how to play the game. Today's Manchester United is a painful reflection of a glorious past, and unless they find the courage to face reality and rebuild from the ground up, every mention of their legacy will fade into background noise after every new defeat. The problem is not who they once were, it is who they want to become. And up to this point, no one inside the club seems to have the answer. How ironic. A team once hailed as the greatest in England now wanders lost in the glare of its own spotlight. No longer a symbol of triumph, no longer an unbreakable fortress, no longer the birthplace of immortal legends. But they are still Manchester United. The difference is, this is Manchester United in the year 2025. A red devil lost in search of its identity, as the entire world watches on, torn between nostalgia and disbelief.